So let's welcome Martin Pepper.
Oh, I feel kind of bad following that story, trying to tell fart jokes now. When I was asked to tell a story about transformation, this story just came right to mind. And it has to do with, I've always been that kid that was the habitual line stepper. So if you, is it okay? Can you guys hear me okay? I'll just yell louder. So if you drew a line in the sand and you said, do not cross this line, as a kid, I didn't do it out of spite, I did it out of curiosity. I was always like, okay, I can't cross that line, but how can I dance as close to that line as I could possibly get? So I joined the swim team here at the university, and it was like joining the military. It was like morning workout, 5:30, if you're late, you pay for it. Evening workout, 2 p.m., if you're late, you pay for it. When you show up, it's 190% of your effort. If we catch you slacking off, we'll get to you. So it was pretty much too much right from the beginning. So I was always thinking, how can I push my boundaries here? So I did things like, I bought a goose, I got it to imprint upon me, and I brought it to workout. So I had this goose that would do my workouts with me. They kicked the goose out. They said, don't bring your goose back here. So then I got a Burmese python that was about 15 feet long. Half the team got out of the pool, and then when it defecated a decomposed rabbit, the other half jumped out of the pool. And it got to the point where I was like that little brother everybody couldn't stand. And we have this, I don't know if it still exists, but this is back in the early 90s. We had this tradition where if it was your birthday, me being on the guys team, I'd get spanked. So on my 21st birthday, they catch you on, they surprise you, they grab you, they drag you down, they pin you on the pool deck, they hike your suit up your butt crack, they get a kickboard wet, and then they spank you 21 times. Since I pissed off everybody on the swim team, men and women and coaches and assistants and everybody took a whack. So that year I was 45 years old. And it kept going, and it got to the point where the coaches put me in my own lane on the far side of the pool, a lane between me and the rest of the team that was empty, and I wasn't allowed to talk to anybody, look at anybody, or let alone do anything to detract from swim team. Because one of my favorite things to do was we would do these underwaters where you had to do 3 to 4 lengths underwater holding your breath. And just before the whole team would push off, I'd untie my suit, and I'd push off a little earlier than everybody else. My suit would fall off, and the entire team would be staring at my bare ass. Pop up to the surface, laughing, and then it got to the point where the coach would drag me out like a bass and just start wailing on me. You did it again! So I was on my 3rd strike, and by then I was pretty fast. And so in the morning, we did workouts in the weight room because I was a sprinter. So I was lifting on the bench press, and we didn't ever take a break mid-season for going on swim meets. So that day, we were going to leave to go to California to race Berkeley, UCLA, and everybody else. So I'm lifting as much as I can, I'm pushing off, and pow! I rip my bicep completely off of the bone. It literally balls up. The barbell drops, the weight falls off, then the other weight instantly falls off, and I get over to my coach and I go, I just ripped my bicep off the bone. And you can see it's all balled up. And he goes, whoa, go sit in the hot tub. No. So, which is not the thing you want to do. So I go to the hot tub and I'm thinking, I'm done. You know, my whole swimming career is over. This is something that just stops you dead in your tracks, pick up something else. So the coaches come over to me and they say, look, why don't you come to this swim meet? And I was like, I'm done, guys. I can't even lift my arm up, let alone swim. And they're like, look, we bought you your ticket, so why don't you just come? I was like, then I'm just going to be giving out water or something because I can't move this arm. And they said, just humor us and come. Well, the funny thing is to travel on the swim team, the biggest rule is you have to wear like a suit, nice slacks, nice shirt, maybe a tie. So I went to all the old estate sales. So my nice suit was lime green bell-bottom pants, fluorescent paisley, a giant brown tie. So I looked like a clown when I got to the airport. And this was the Southwest Airlines. And if you guys remember, they used to not assign seats. So we'd get this little plastic thing that just said, you're allowed to board the plane. Totally full flight going to LA that day. And as we're boarding that flight, I hear the whole team murmuring, oh, Marty will sit there. Oh, Marty will sit there. So there's only one seat left on the entire flight. And it's next to this guy that looks like a clown beat up a hippie. And it's because he has these tiny blue square spectacles. He's got the longest, curliest hair that goes past his waist down the seat. He's wearing full tie-dye. He's got a million necklaces on, bracelets on every arm, and he just looks like he just came from some rainbow gathering or something. So I sit down thinking, oh no, because I can smell, he doesn't smell the greatest, and I just smell chlorine, so I'm basically inoculated. And I sit down next to him, and as the plane starts to take off, he starts acting like he's holding this orb of energy. And I'm not one to be polite, so I'm just staring at this guy. He's holding this orb of energy, and then he starts touching himself on his head, and he starts, it's like he's in the zone, he's in a trance. So my first instinct as I jump, sir, what are you doing? And he looks over at me just pissed off that I've interrupted, but he looks at me and he goes, cranial sacral. And I'm like, whoa. So I back off. I let him finish his whole thing because he's working on his whole body. And then he turns and talks to me. He says, look, I adjust energy through bodies. It's called cranial sacral, from the head, the top of the head, all the way down to the sacrum. And he introduces himself. His name is Hawk. And then he leans over and he basically introduces his gorgeous assistant. She's a Romanian gymnast, retired. Her name is Georgania. So Hawk and Georgania turn to me and they say, we've noticed you've had some sniffles. Would you like us to work on you? And I'm like, okay, what do I do? So they go, give us your hand. So I'm holding these strangers' hands, and word gets through the airplane now. Marty's holding hands with these hippies and having a seance. So then I'm thinking, what am I doing here? I was like, look, let's forget the sniffles. I can't pick up my arm. Can we work on that? And they have this simple fix Americans kind of attitude. So they're like, all right, this one's going to be a little bit more intense. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the arms of the chair up. Hawk is going to lay down. I'm going to jump on top of Hawk. Then Georgiani is going to jump on top of me. So I'm like, let's try it. And I'm thinking this was my third strike. So I'm laying on top of Hawk. He's crammed against the back of the seat. And he's putting his hands under me. Georgiania's goal is to pull his energy through me. I'm loving it. Her hands are all over me. I'm thinking, a little lower. So I can't relax, because now there's a Congo line of swim team going by going, what the fuck is Marty doing now? Word's gotten up to the coaches. So I'm hearing coaches are going to kick Marty off the team. So Hawk is back there like, you gotta relax, you gotta get into this. So I'm like, okay, everybody's staring at me. He's like, let it go. So I just sit back. He's back there in a trance and he gets loud. And about then I hear the stewardess lean over to the swim girls behind me and go, what's his problem? And they go, we think he has a headache. And the stewardess goes, then get a fucking aspirin. But this is where it gets crazy. Right about then, I feel Hawk inside my shoulder. I feel him actually pull my pectoral back into place. I can't fake it. I finally relaxed enough that he's doing his thing and he's inside my body adjusting things. So we get to the end of the flight. First thing, we hit the ground and the coaches are, what the hell was going on back there? We heard you're having an orgy? And I'm like, my clothes stayed on. But the most amazing thing happened. That day I couldn't pick up my arm, but the next morning I was completely healed, swam my races with no problems.
Hmm.